Today on ParaBrazil 16, Canada ends its medal drought by collecting some hardware in athletics. Aurélie Rivard is golden in the pool. Ross Wilson and Tristan Chernov cycle their way to the finals. And we take an in-depth look at 20-year-old swimmer Alec Elliot. Welcome to today's show. I'm Kyle Cantlon with my boy Phil Jones. Well, it took until halfway through the second day, Phil, but Canada finally got its first medals of the Games on Friday, and our athletes have kept it rolling into today.
Without a doubt, Kent, the medal count is starting to pile up, and our athletes are doing us proud. With 3 golds and counting for Team Canada, it feels like California circa 1849.
Gold rush.
No doubt. Let's start off with an incredible triumph from the track. Brent Lakatos is one of Canada's most decorated para-athletes, but one medal has eluded him: Paralympic gold. The 36-year-old Dorval daredevil Brent Lakatos locked and loaded for the dramatic T53 100-meter final.
And away they go, and away Lakatos goes. Fairbank right alongside, but Lakatos is flying perfectly here for Canada. He's well ahead of the rest. He's going to be the Paralympic Games champion. Oh, Canada's Brent Lakatos.
Lakatos captures gold in a time of 14:44, his first ever Paralympic gold medal. That a boy, Brent.
I've done everything I can. The chair is the lightest it possibly can be. I've cut weight. I've done everything I could, and the support that I've had through on the podium, Athletics Canada, the sports sciences has been just unbelievable. And so all of their work, all of my work, and it just worked out tonight, and it's it's a gold medal. So.
Still at the track, Michelle Stilwell, the reigning Pan Am champion in the 100-meter and the only Canadian to ever win a gold medal in 2 different Paralympic sports. She sets up in lane 4 of the women's 400-meter T52 championship final. Belgium's Marieke Vervoe comes in as the biggest threat to Stilwell's gold medal chances. Stilwell had a good start out of the blocks and built up a significant lead coming down the stretch.
Vancouver for Canada, who's going for the gold here, and she's going to get it. The former Paralympic champion is the current champion again, 105.43.
Stilwell destroyed the previous Paralympic record, besting it by almost 4 seconds with the time of 105.52. Vervoe and American Carrie Morgan finished second and third.
The Canadian success in athletics would spill over from the track to the field, as Calgary, Alberta's Alistair McQueen would take home a silver medal in the men's F44 javelin event. McQueen stepped up knowing he needed a big throw to make the podium, and he would deliver on his second last attempt with an impressive 55.56 meter throw, setting a Canadian record in the process. He was only bested by Akeem Stewart of Trinidad and Tobago, who set a world record with his toss of 57.32 meters. The medal is McQueen's first ever at the Paralympics after being shut out in the 2012 London Games. With more from the track, here's our very own Hannah Carver.
So day 2 of athletics wrapped up, and it was a great medal edition for Team Canada. Brent Lakatos raced in the 100-meter T53 category, and he earned himself golden honors. It was a great experience for Brent Lakatos, as it was his first time to the top of the podium in Paralympic Games, despite competing in already 4 Paralympics. It was great to have his family there in the crowd watching him, including his wife Steph Reed, who competed earlier in the day for Team Great Britain, who won herself a silver. As well, Alistair McQueen of Team Canada, throwing some javelin. He earned himself silver honors. And watch out for Josh Cassidy, who will compete on Sunday in the 5,000 meter. Good luck to the rest of the Canadian athletes.
Fresh Paralympic record in a 50-meter freestyle heat, Quebec native Aurélie Rivard taking part in the evening final. Rivard in lane 4 gets off to an early lead and stays in front the whole way. Rivard would win gold, Kants, and setting a new world record in the process with a time of 27.37 seconds. The gold is the first in the 20-year-old's career and her second Paralympic medal, dating back to her silver in the 400-meter freestyle at the Games in London 2012. Rivard looks to add to her medal count as she is set to participate in even more events this week in Rio.
I just lost 25 pounds of stress and pressure because it's been a big year, thinking about Rio every single minute of my life, dealing with pressure from myself, from the medias as well, from my entourage. And now that the ice is broken, I'm so relieved. I didn't know really what to expect. Of course, I wanted to win. I wanted to go to break the Russian sport record because she took it away from me a few months ago. So, but I didn't know if I would be able to do it, and now that it's done, I'm just so happy, and I don't think I realized it yet.
A 35-year-old accountant from Edmonton, he refers to himself on Twitter as just a middle-aged white man trying his best. But Ross Wilson has done much more than just try his best while cycling his way to the 2016 Paralympic Games. A crash during the Pan Am Games in Toronto caused him to miss all of his races in that event, but he returned to finish second in the 300-meter individual pursuit in the 2015 and 2016 World Championships. After qualifying for the final earlier in the day, Ross took to the track again last night, guaranteed a medal, but we all know which color he was hoping for.
From Canada, Ross Wilson.
Ross Wilson racing for either silver or gold against China's Li Zhangyu. In his heat earlier in the day, Wilson set a new Paralympic record, but one race later, his record was actually broken by the man he is facing in the gold medal race. Wilson was ahead for most of the race until the end when he was just edged out at the finish line for gold. The silver is his first ever Paralympic medal.
Wilson wasn't the only Canadian to bring home a cycling medal last night. 2016 World Track Champion Tristan Chernov, wearing the blue jersey, also took silver in the C2 3,000-meter individual pursuit final with a time of 3:47.41. The gold medal would go to China's Liang Jiwa, but the Powell River, British Columbia native is off to a strong start in his first ever Paralympics and has 3 races left to try and win his first Paralympic gold. With a wrap-up from the velodrome, here's our very own Quentin Amiston.
Last night I was very fortunate to cover paracycling, to be in the building at the Rio Velodrome for the first Canadian medal of the Rio Games. That award went to Ross Wilson, second place finish in the C1 3,000 meter individual pursuit. He was a little bit disappointed after the race, but he eventually really came around to being proud of the idea of being Canada's first medal. Of course, in a gold medal final, you have 2 combatants, one of them's a winner and one of them's a loser. So while at first he was very disappointed about not getting that gold medal, he was really beaming with pride on the podium as he got the medallion around his neck, and he was just really proud to really put Canada on the map in terms of winning that award, and he hopes that it will start a floodgate of medals, and it did, with Tristan Chernov winning for cycling just 10 minutes later, and a couple of other medals were handed out for athletics and swimming. So it was great to be in the building for that, and there's going to be more medals coming out at the Rio Velodrome, starting with tonight's individual time trial. Chernov and Wilson will try to win again, and we will have all the details for you. But for now, I'm Quentin Amundsen reporting for ParaBrazil 16.
The Canadian women's wheelchair basketball team were in action today as they destroyed Argentina, beating them 73-28. Canada is led by Erin Young, who led all scorers with 14 points, while Janet McLaughlin also put down 13. Cindy Willett was a force on the boards, pulling down 10 rebounds.
The Hornet was buzzing, Kent. She was buzzing.
Yes, she was, Phil. Canada faces a second-ranked Germany on Sunday, which could be a gold medal preview.
Canadian medal hopeful that you should keep your eye on is 20-year-old Alec Elliot from Kitchener, Ontario. Born with a rare condition that limits the use of both his hands and his feet, Elliot is a para-swimmer competing in 8 events over the course of the Rio Paralympics. The Wilfrid Laurier student won 6 medals at the Pan Am Games in 2015 and talks about his preparation and inspiration for his medal pursuit in Brazil.
My biggest strength is that I'm competitive. So I see the person ahead of me and I decide that I want to catch them, and I'll do whatever it takes to catch them. And that's definitely my biggest strength, because when you're hurting at the end of the race and you don't have anything left in your arms and your legs, but you really want to get a medal, or you really want to out-touch that person, or you really want to make that final, that's what keeps you going. Well, sometimes it can definitely be difficult, especially at 5:30 in the morning, but I think for me, it's traveling and representing Canada. I really enjoy that feeling, and it often helps me to compete at my best when I'm on the blocks at an international meet. It's a feeling of I don't want to disappoint my country, I want to do my best, and I want to win a medal and bring home a medal. And I want my training to feel like it's worth it too. A person for me that's homegrown is actually Zach Chetrak. And it was really cool because I came up here and I was able to do a couple practice sims with him last year for butterfly, and it was just the most exciting thing. I really look up to Zach. I know he's worked super hard. He's missed a few teams, but he kept his spirits up, kept trying to make that next team, and I really looked up to him as someone who is competitive. They're both just regular meets for me. You gotta focus on that. You gotta keep it as a regular meet. You gotta pretend it's just like any other meet. You're showing up, doing your best. The only difference is that the whole world's there. So all the competition from all around the world, Pan Am's was only North and South America, and this time we got Australia coming, we got Asia coming, and Europe and Africa are also showing up. So you have a larger field to compete against. To win a medal in Rio, it would be a wonderful experience. I feel like it would make all my training feel like it wasn't a waste and that it was all for something. I think it would also make my parents very proud to see me win a medal, to see that I did something in the sport, and it would just be a cool reminder that I competed there and I was able to do something for my country and bring home a medal. Well, apart from the athletic experience, I really hope that I'll be able to experience some of the culture while I'm down there. It's definitely disappointing when I travel to a place and I don't get to experience the culture and I just kind of go there, eat same American, Canadian food that we eat here, and then I fly back home. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the village and how good it looks and just being in the village environment because there's a lot of cool things that happen there.
Over the past 20 years, the Paralympics have added over 50 countries and over 1,000 athletes. As the event grows, so does the difficulty of identifying the degree of disabilities for competitors to assign their classification, which has resulted in some unfair matchups. Earlier this week, Canadian para-athletics coach Peter Erickson told The Guardian that he believes this responsibility should be handed to an independent organization, similar to the way the World Anti-Doping Agency monitors performance-enhancing drug infractions. The purpose of classes is to ensure athletes with similar functions and abilities compete against each other. For example, swimming has 14 classes, ranging from mild impairment to severe, the most of any sport. To avoid any perception of conflict of interest, this classification procedure is conducted by a panel of 2 or 3 members of each sport's international federation and not the athlete's own country. Joining us to discuss the difficulties of the classification system is Mark Stanuch, who has been following the story closely. Mark, what's the danger here?
Well, the fear is that some athletes are manipulating their evaluations in order to be put into classification where they have a better chance of success. They've gone on to say that some coaches have put them through rigorous training just hours before their evaluation to create muscle fatigue, which could feign a more severe disability. Also, some anonymous athletes have gone on record saying that coaches have gone as far as to say to not move a certain body part when asked, like a toe, for example.
Such an interesting story. It's a labyrinth of comprehension with very many levels of deceit. How many Canadians have been affected by this?
Well, there is one prominent Canadian who was affected, but it was in kind of a different way. Amy Burke of the goalball team, in the 2015 Pan Am Games in Toronto, her classification came out with the result that her disability wasn't severe enough, so she was actually barred from competition. What it turned out was that as an albino, sometimes her vision can be affected by various circumstances. For example, the intensity of the sun, or in this case, the lighting in the room where her evaluation took place. She's been since reinstated back, and she's competing right now in Rio. But here's an example where an athlete wasn't necessarily cheating the system, but the system was cheating the athlete.
Do you believe that Coach Erickson's proposal for an independent organization for the classifications is a valid solution?
An WADA-like organization ideally could work, but the issue is that the current system, we have the independent organizations, and with the sports being as varied as they are, and the different disabilities affecting each performance differently, these individual federations may have the most extensive knowledge. So though hypothetically a WADA-like situation could work, they would have to work closely with the federations to share this extensive knowledge to come up with the best solution.
Informative as always, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's quite the issue, Cance, let me tell you.
It is, a lot of layers to it.
A lot of layers indeed. Well, let's take a look at the medal standings now.
Here's the day 3 standings. As you can see, Canada no longer sitting at 0. We now have 3 golds, 4 silver, and 7 total. We got a sleeper there, Uzbekistan, sitting in 6th, Phil.
Good for them. Top 5 with Netherlands, USA, Ukraine, Great Britain, and China at 53 medals and counting 22 gold.
They're dominating, Phil.
You got to be kidding me, but good to Canada getting on the board there with the 7 medals, looking strong early. As mentioned, the medals are starting to roll in for Canada on a successful day 3 as Canada looks positioned to improve upon their medal totals from London. Cance, what are you looking forward to on day 4?
Well, it's a pretty heavy schedule tomorrow, Phil, but always spending most of my time checking out the women's goalball match against Ukraine. Stephanie Chan's in her table tennis semifinal, and the women's sitting volleyball team will be taking on the Netherlands.
All kinds of excitement as the games progress. Full steam ahead. We'll be off the air tomorrow, but back on Monday with an action-packed show for you with exclusive Paralympic coverage. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes and all our hardworking journalists down in Rio, making ParaBrazil 16 come to life. He's Kyle Cantlin. I'm Phil Jones. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.